Did you know that you only need double crochets and chains to make such a fabulous, fully reversible pattern just like this? Beach drop! Hey there, bonjour à tous, bienvenue de la plage de la Grande Motte. Hi from the beach! Welcome to the Totally Fierce Crochet channel, today from the beach in the south of France. And in this video I'm going to show you a new technique that is called Interlocking Crochet that lets you create beautiful patterns fully reversible just like this. So the technique is called Interlocking Crochet and it was completely new to me as well until I saw a video. And then also my friend Neil, hi Neil, sent me a message to check out Interlocking Crochet. So I did, and of course I was intrigued. I wanted to try it to get such a beautiful pattern for my pieces. So I know this looks a little bit intimidating in the beginning, and trust me, I had some issues as well figuring out how this works, but I found it out, and look how beautiful it looks with the double-sided pattern, one in plum color, one in the corn color. So it's just a beautiful technique that you can use for so many different projects like bags or wearables or something like this, my XOXO Infinity Scarf. Now the reason why I called this the XOXO Infinity Scarf is quite easy, because the pattern says XOXO on both sides in both of the colors. Of course you can choose whatever color you like and just make sure to have like a great color contrast so you get like the best effect. And in the end, if you have your infinity scarf, you just wrap it around your neck and wear it for the colder summer, spring days to keep your neck nice and warm. So are you ready to check out this interlocking crochet technique with me? Let's go! So let me start by giving you some explanations about the interlocking crochet technique. This here is my little test piece, and as you can see, you always work with two colors. One main color, one secondary color, and whatever pattern you're making, the other side either looks completely different, like in the lower part here we have the crosses or the stars, and in the back we have the little red squares, which I think makes it quite fun, because of course you can have like one pattern on one side and one pattern on the other side, or you go with patterns like this one here that basically looks the same, just reverse in terms of colors. Or as I have it here, also then later on for my XOXO Infinity Scarf, you have the same pattern in the front as you have it in the back. So here you have the XOXO as well, just flipped in terms of colors. Interlocking crochet combines a few other techniques that some of you may already know. Personally, this reminds me a lot of the filet crochet, like my doilies, because it's mainly double crochets with a chain one in between, and then you interlock it in between by making front post and back post double crochets, just like you may probably know them. And since we work both colors at the same time, we always make one row with one color and then make the exact same row in the exact same direction with the other color. So the progress is a bit slower because you basically have to work both sides. But I think in the end it works pretty quick. And what I would also like to mention is that the sides are pretty open, so you can definitely see through, but it's quite easy to close the side by just connecting the stitches on the go. I actually had a XOXO scarf before I even named it the XOXO scarf, which was like this. And I already made like probably half of the infinity scarf before deciding that I want to have it less wide and only until I have the XOXO, so my last row of the pattern will be gone. And what I did here was connecting the sides on the go, so you can easily connect it. What I don't really like about this is that it like ruffles up. It's okay and visually, but when I make the XOXO Infinity Scarf, I will keep it open because the pattern goes quite wide to the sides, so I can definitely leave it open. And since I want this Infinity Scarf for spring, summer, and early fall, it definitely can be a little bit more breathy and meshy, so the open sides won't bother me. You can always, of course, in the end, make a round of crochet all along with single crochets, for example, to close the sides, but that is absolutely up to you. And I think with that we can start. I'm going to leave my half-finished scarf right here so that we have like the visual visible. I highly recommend you to start this technique if this is completely new for you with a test piece, a little swatch, just to train yourself how to make the pattern, how to make the stitches, and how to create like the visual. It definitely helps because in the beginning I was completely clueless how this works and was surprised how it then worked. So it always makes sense to do a little swatch to see how it goes, and then you can also decide if this is nothing for you. You can then just leave it and rip it open, just like I will do it with this test piece and later on also with the half-finished scarf. But for this tutorial, I am still going to use the same colors, the plum color and this color here, which is called Corn. I think it's like a golden, cornish, yellow, greenish color. First, I was like a bit, this is not like a color that I would usually pick, but I think together with the plum, I think it looks absolutely beautiful. If you choose your two colors, make sure that you have a nice color contrast, so in the end, you can see the pattern clearly. This is also my first project using the Twister Solid Gold, and so far I absolutely love it. It's a mix yarn. It's 55% cotton and 45% acrylic, and this makes it a little bit lighter than regular cotton, but it has like the same feel of cotton. It's like perfect for spring and summer because it's a bit cooler when you touch it, and I think it works absolutely beautiful. They say you would need a 5.5 millimeter hook for this, so make sure that when you pick a yarn, that you always have like the double fabric on top of each other, so it gets a little bit thicker in terms of texture. So be sure, if you don't want to have it too thick, then choose a thinner yarn. For me as a taller guy, this is absolutely fine, but instead of a 5.5 millimeter hook, I'm going to use a 5 millimeter. Probably can't see it. Oh, maybe you can. A 5 millimeter, just so that it is like not too loose. I tried it with the 5.5 millimeter and I thought like it was just a bit too meshy in the end. Then, of course, you would need a yarn needle to sew in the yarn ends. And then, of course, some scissors to finish it up. An infinity scarf works quite easily. You crochet a regular scarf, and then in the end you just crochet the two ends together to have like an infinity scarf. So this is like a perfect beginner project, especially also when this technique is new for you. I've seen tutorials with the interlocking crochet for blankets and even a cardigan, which looks absolutely stunning and beautiful. So if you want to go ahead and go big, then please do so. I will start in the smaller way. So first you have to decide which one is your main color and which one is your secondary color. For my main color, I'm choosing the plum, and the difference you later on can see it in the pattern as well. The main color always starts with 2 double crochets and ends with 2 double crochets, whereas the secondary color just ends with single double crochets. So this is something to keep in mind, that on one side you get like a thicker border on the side, but other than that, both colors are worked in the same way. And for my XOXO Infinity Scarf, I'm going to need a starting row of 17 stitches, so it's quite small, and then later on it works quite fast. And of course I'm going to start with an I-cord. You can of course make a chain if you want to make a chain, or a foundation single crochet. That is up to you. I start with the I-cord, so I leave a bit of yarn to the side and start with a slip knot. And then I take the yarn from the side and wrap it around my hook from the front, and then I take the yarn that goes to my yarn skein and wrap it around from the back, and then I pull this last loop through the 2 loops on my hook to create my first I-cord element, and this I do 16 more times. So 17 I-cord stitches. So this then also is the width of my infinity scarf. And now we are doing something tricky, because now we are already adding the secondary color. So we take our loop out a little bit. You can leave the end of your I-cord to the side, and now we are going to add the secondary color, in my case the corn. And to connect it, I'm going to make a freestanding double crochet. So first I make a slip knot like this, and then I'm going to wrap the yarn from the back over my hook, hold both of the loops with my finger, and then I will go into the exact same stitch where we ended, right here, and I will just go in the back loop and then put everything a bit closer together, because these freestanding stitches tend to like be a bit wider, and then yarn over, pull the yarn through, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2 to have the connection that we want, like that. And now we do as if we would do filet crochet. So we chain 1, and then we skip a stitch from our I-cord and then go 1 stitch further and make the double crochet in there. So you yarn over, go in the stitch under both of the loops, yarn over, pull it through, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2. And this we do right until the end. So always chain 1, skip 1, and then a double crochet, just like we did it in the filet crochet. That's why I mentioned it's like a mix including filet crochet. And we do this all the way, because with the uneven number of stitches for our first round, our last stitch should always be a double crochet. And here we go, 2 stitches left, and our last stitch we are again placing in the back loop of our last I-cord element right here. So we start in the back loop and we end in the back loop, but this we only do in the first round. And now we have our secondary color connected completely. Now we take the loop out. You can also place a stitch marker if you want to. And now I turn my work, and first I'm going to grab my purple loop. Here it is. So here it is. And just pull it together. Then I turn again, because now I'm working in my front loop, and I start. This is very fiddly in the first round. This gets much easier in the next rounds. And first I'm going to make a single crochet, and then I go in the front loop, yarn over, pull it through, and make another single crochet to have a fake double crochet that sits right in front of our first freestanding double crochet with the secondary color. Then we yarn over, and now we go in between our first 2 secondary double crochets and make a double crochet in the I-cord stitch in between. And this now is like the 2 double crochets that start our round with our main color. Then we chain 1 and then make the next double crochet in between. So in the end, if you have both of the rows on top of each other, you have like all the gaps filled just from alternating sides. And then in the next, always with a chain 1 in between, and all the way through. So this was our last space, and if you can remember, the last double crochet with the secondary color we only placed in the back loop, and that means that we are going to place our last purple double crochet in the front loop, which of course is a bit tight now. Here we go. And like that, now we have both rows completed and have our first round, and here's how they look. And now again, it's the same for all the future rounds. We just take the loop out, put it aside. In that case, we go to the back, search for our corn loop right here, and fix it again, because now we are going to turn again. And now we make one round the same way with each of the colors. And the beginning is always the same with a fake double crochet. So we just go in the top of our previous stitch, yarn over, pull it through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, single crochet, and then grab the front loop, yarn over, pull it through, 2 loops, yarn over, and pull through to have the fake double crochet. Then we chain 1, and then we go just like we do it with the fillet crochet. We place a double crochet on top of a previous double crochet, and of course you can go just under the 2 loops that you have in the top, or you do it as I usually do it. I just take this 3rd loop right here, just to make sure that my stitches are later on a little bit better aligned and not tilting to either side, but that is absolutely up to you. I just prefer the 3rd loop. If you can grab it, later on you will see that it's not always easy to grab 3 loops, and then usually I just take 2, and we go all the way through, and then we do the same thing with the purple color, so that in the end both of our yarn ends are on the same side, because now the purple is still where it was and the corn just goes to the other side. And I will meet you once you have both colors back on the same side. So now that we have round number 2 completed, and when I say round, I always mean the 2 colors, the yarn ends are on the same side, we can now start with round number 3, and this will also be our first round where we then start the interlocking, and we are going to start by making the star. And for that we now grab again our secondary color, turn it, and start again with a fake double crochet as we did it before, so it's always the same. Then we chain 1, go in the next stitch in the top like that, and now we are good to go with the first interlocking. And for that we chain 1, and then instead of working our next double crochet just like we did it before here in the top, we are going to place it like in between our purple stitches. So what you can do, you just take the hook and pull it there, and then you grab the stitch and just pull it through, and then yarn over and make your double crochet. And like that we get like this interlocking right here, and then we chain 1, because the next one we are going to place like we did it before in the back. So you yarn over and just grab the stitch from the back and do it regularly. Then we chain 1, the next stitch is the same, like that, and then the next one is again the same way like we did it here. So you yarn over, grab the stitch, pull it through the hole, yarn over, and double crochet like that, and all the way to the end it's all in the back. And pull the loop through. Now let's take a little closer look what we just did. So we basically interlocked both of our colors, add some stitches right here. So in the end, so in the next round, we are going to push this side and this side also to the front. So we create like the 3 sides of our star, and then we will just complete it in the next round or in the next secondary round. And it will make a little bit more sense once we made the next round. So I'm going to pick my purple or my plum color, and again I'm going to start with a fake double crochet, and then in the next stitch, without chaining 1, and here we are. So now we chain 1, and again, instead of like going in the front right here, we are actually going to the back in between our 2 yellowish or secondary double crochets, and take the hook, grab the stitch, pull it to the back, twist your arms a little bit, and then just pull the yarn through and make the double crochet. And like that, we pulled this side to the front. Then we chain 1 because we have to do the same thing again. So you yarn over, go in between the 2 secondary double crochets, grab the stitch, push it to the back, and make a double crochet just like this. And to finish this part of the star, we are now going to make our next double crochet from the front only in this next top of the double crochet. And here you can clearly see the 3 sides of the star. And then we have our next star. So we chain 1, we go again from the back, grab the stitch, push it to the back, yarn over, pull it through, and then again chain 1, same thing, yarn over, grab the stitch, pull it to the back, and double crochet just like that. And then we chain 1 because all the following are only in the front. Chain 1 and then 2 double crochets to finish this 3rd round. And pull the loop out. Now we have again both of the yarn ends on the same side, and as you can see, we already have almost like the first round of stars. And when you look at the back, you can already see the first 2 squares. So this is like pretty cool. And now when we flip it, we are going to work on this side. So we are going to complete the squares, which is of course pretty awesome because then you already know how to make the squares. But first, let's pick up the loop from the secondary color. Then again, turn, and for example, if you want to connect the sides or close the sides, this would be like a perfect situation, because then you would like just make the fake double crochet and somehow incorporate one of the yarn strands that you see here from the other side just to connect it. But of course, as I mentioned before, I won't connect it. I will leave it open. and we start again with the fake double crochet, and then we chain 1, go in the next stitch from the front, like that. Then we go in the next stitch from the front, and now we want to close the square, and of course we chain 1, and then instead of like going in the next stitch from the front, because like that you would like have a U instead of an O or the square. So we are now grabbing the stitch from the back. So you yarn over, go in between the 2 purple double crochets, grab the stitch, yarn over, pull it through, and make the double crochet. And the other ones are again from the front. The first one and the second one. And then chain 1, and then again to finish our second square, go in between the 2 double crochets, grab the yarn from the grab the stitch and make the double crochet, and then our last 2 stitches, in my case with the corn color, are from the front, double crochets right until the end. And pull the loop out. So the squares on this side we have, and miraculously we have the stars almost complete on the other side. So pretty amazing how this works. And let's continue. I'm going to grab my loop, turn it, and the beginning is the same. Fake double crochet, and since this is our primary color, our second stitch is right next to it with a double crochet. And now, since like this pattern is like alternating, we are already starting with the next row of pattern, and here we have like the 2 squares. So after the squares there's always the stars coming. So we chain 1, and then we already start our next star by yarning over, and then again go from the front in between our 2 double crochets, pull the full stitch through, and make the double crochet in front. So we have like the lower peak of our star already there. Then we chain 1, then again we grab the next stitch from the back, because we don't want to like change the square or the O. So we go from the back into the stitch, pull it to the back, and double crochet. Then the same thing with the next stitch, and we go in between, grab the stitch, push it to the back, and double crochet. Then we have our next peak like we had it here. So we chain 1, and then we go from the front in between the 2, grab the stitch, push it to the front, and make the double crochet in. So we are really like interlocking and alternating all at once, and this is also really why I said that it definitely makes sense to practice it before starting with a full project, because you have to get used to where to push what stitch through because this can be a bit tricky. And our last 2 stitches are the same as we had it before. My yarn is bugging me a little bit with this little knot. Now I have it. And then in the last stitch, of course. And here we go. The next round is complete. And if you turn it now, you have like the full star, and we already see the beginning of the O right here. And we just continue because this is already it to create this pattern. And as soon as you see the visual of it a bit clearly, or a bit more clearer after a few more rounds, you will then always know where to like push the yarn through or to the back. It really is just a bit confusing in the beginning, which is why I took the time to explain everything very slowly so you can follow along. Chain 1. Here, of course, we don't want to like destroy the pattern, so we go from the back in between the 2 double crochets, grab the stitch, push it to the back, and make our double crochet in the back. And now here we are building our next square, or the next O. So of course we want to break this up right here. So we yarn over, go into the stitch from the front, and then just push it to the front and make our double crochet in there, chain 1, and the same thing to create the O. And as you can see, you already have it. Then chain 1. Now again, we don't want to break the pattern, so we go from the back and push it through. And then we have our next O. So we do the same thing like we did it before. Yarn over, go in the stitch from the front, push it to the front, and double crochet, chain 1, and then again in the next, just like that, and chain 1, and we already have our last stitch. And now we can complete it. So we grab the primary color, turn it, fake double crochet, and then in the next another regular double crochet. Let's see where we are. Now we just want to complete the 2 squares. So we chain 1, then we go into the front of our next stitch, chain 1. The next one is also in the front. So it's really like building patterns with the interlocking double crochets, because of course now we don't want to break this part up right here, although this would look absolutely fine as a pattern, just saying. So feel free to experiment a little bit. So we yarn over and go from the back in between the 2 double crochets, grab the stitch, push everything to the back and make the next double crochet. The next one goes in the front, of course. Oops. And the one after that as well, chain 1, go in the front, make the next double crochet, and then we have another one that goes from the back, interlocking, go in between the 2 stitches, grab our purple stitch and double crochet, and our last 2 stitches are in the front or from the front, double crochet and double crochet, and just like that we have already 2 rounds of patterns. XOXO, it says it already, and the back side also has XOXO just from the other side and with the other color. And this is basically how you continue all the way along. So always make sure to watch out for where the pattern is and what side you want to fill, and you will see it quite clearly if you messed it up or there's a mistake somewhere that the pattern isn't working anymore. So don't worry, it can happen, it's absolutely fine. Then just open it and see how it goes. Or and now we can just now you can just continue, always completing the pattern. And here, for example, of course we want to like finish the cross or the X or the star like this. And then of course we are going to start here with our next O. So we chain 1 and then go from the back in between the 2 with the other color, grab the stitch and push it to the back. So on one side it's going to be the O and on the other side it's going to be the X. And I'll meet you once you have the length of your infinity scarf. You can make it as long as you want to and then wrap it around a few times, but that is completely up to you. And have fun trying interlocking crochet. And I was skeptical at first, but you will see once you have a few rounds and you see the pattern clearly, like I have it now here as well, it actually makes quite fun. And you get, like, of course, a super pretty textured and beautiful pattern. And this is definitely always worth it. So have fun. So my infinity scarf is almost complete. Here's how it looks. I think it's absolutely pretty. And you have XOXO all the way on both sides. Super pretty. And it's also very light. And as you can see, the sides are open and it doesn't bother me at all. But again, if you want to close the sides, feel free to do so. I mean, the sides sit on top of each other perfectly, and I think you don't really need a separate border. So now the only thing left would be to cut the yarn and then sew both ends together. I will of course sew in both of the colors, and this is what we do next. So the first thing that I can do is to cut the yarn This is what was left of my 2 skeins, just in case. And I'm absolutely in love with this yarn. It's super pretty and super light. And luckily it's also a bit bulky or chunky, so you get like your pieces together quite fast, although this technique takes a little bit of time. And now I just make a chain or a slip knot to secure the yarn, and I will of course do this with both of my yarn ends. And of course I just opened my last stitches right here, so I'm just going to quickly close them. This can happen. And chain 1 and then pull it through to secure it. So now my yarn ends are secure, and what's important now is that I don't twist my work. Here was my beginning, and here's my end, and I will start by sewing in the main color first, the purple in my case. So I'm going to grab my yarn needle and just go along. Lots of yarn ends right now, but so what? And I will do this in a very simple way. I will go into my first stitch right here and then go back to where I ended my work, and then I will just go 1 stitch from the front and 1 from the back and just pull that together. Here's the next one. Of course, you can then also go under both of the loops, just going all the way to connect it. And with our pattern, it's actually quite easy to see where the stitches are. So this is definitely something really nice and convenient, so you don't have to search a lot. And it's still just 17 stitches. So this is done quickly. And the last one, like this. And now, since we also have our yarn from the beginning, we can then just make a double knot to bring both of those yarn ends together. And then I'm going to take both of them. I will just cut it because it was a bit too long. And then I will just sew them in. So I will turn my work now to just go along. Let's see where I find some stitches to work in. Too much. And now we can cut the yarn. And we can then do the same thing basically with the other color. So we already have it turned to the back, and what I will do here is I'm going to take the little end yarn first. This is from where we then connected the freestanding double crochet, and I will just go along and sew that in first. Got it. And now I take my last piece and I will do it the exact same way. Put it on the yarn needle, and for this I'm going to go, let's see, in the top here of this very first stitch, and then I go back in our corner stitch, and then here we don't really have a full stitch, so I will just go through the 2 loops that I have here and just bring it down. Here they are. And my last stitch, and since I don't have a loop to make a double knot, I will just keep this last loop right here and then go through the loop to just make a little knot here on the side, and then we go back again, but I think it looks quite nice as a connection, and we will just go back a few stitches as always to sew in that yarn end. Can cut it. I'm just going to check this part here where I had the other yarn. So when you feel like there's like some bits and pieces showing that you definitely don't want to have, just push them to the inside. But now the XOXO Infinity Scarf is done. I'm absolutely in love how it looks. Super pretty, perfect for colder, chilly summer nights, and have fun choosing summer, spring colors for it. But I'm honestly quite happy with this plum and corn color, and what can I say? Have fun wearing it. Meet me at the beach. So what do you think of this beautiful interlocking crochet technique? I hope you like it, because I absolutely love making it and I can't wait to start my next projects using it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you will enjoy trying out this interlocking crochet technique. And just remember to start with a little swatch to get to know this interlocking technique. And then go ahead and create beautiful pieces just like my XOXO scarf. And of course, I hope to see you back again next time, only at the Totally Fierce Crochet channel. Maybe from the beach, I hope so. But until then, XOXO, bye. Greetings from the beach. And the sea is somewhere here. I hope you can see it. Bye! Food, this was it. I had to be quick before all the tourists come to storm the beach to film my little intro. Now I'm going to the water with you, to the Mediterranean Sea, in case you haven't been. And it's very calm today, so here it is, the beautiful sea, with my beautiful Interlocking XOXO scarf. Look! Isn't this pretty? And I'm switching the camera just for you to see a little bit more from the beach, because it can never hurt. I just love the beach so much. One day I want to live near a beach so I can hear those sea sounds every day. Thank you so much again for watching, and bye! The sun.